What's a stupid thing you've done that you still think WTF did I do that for? Part 2. Had an upside down fridge freezer. So tiny fridge part was on the floor, freezer above it. Trying to put a new light bulb in, couldn't see duck all, so I felt for the hole with my fingers. Yes, I stuck my finger into the socket and got an electric shock. Fell off the stage during a concert in high school. Whole choir turned to see where I'd gone. I climbed back up and tried to look nonchalant. Paper shredder got clogged up. Tried the reverse setting, but no, paper was reply jammed in there. Put the switch back to off. Also I thought, and then started poking the jammed bits with a sharp knife, only for the shredder to start, and took the knife, which also got jammed in it. Yep, had put the shredder back on. DS found the whole situation hilarious. DP, maybe the unofficial taxi driver, phoned me saying someone won't get out of his car, told him to take her home, but he did not know where it was, so had to stop at a garage and ask for directions. Young and drunk on a Friday, was waiting for a late night bus and some guy in a car stopped and I went in the car to his miles away for the whole weekend. Family, friends and work all worried about me and had called the police pre-mobile. I was demolishing a rotten old shed in our new house with a hammer and handsaw. Couldn't get a bit at the back, so cut part of the roof from inside it. Yes, it completely collapsed on top of me, luckily only 10 stitches. Very naked, very pregnant photo sent to my boss instead of DP. She thought I looked blooming, loads more. My whole life seems to be WTF. I was sat on a single seat right, at the front of a bus. It was up a step and quite tight. My DH was sat further back where there was another empty seat. As the bus emptied, the seat next to him became free, and to this day, I have no fucking idea why I did this. Instead of stepping down into the middle of the bus and then turning around, I decide I would turn before stepping down and attractively twirl around the pole. Except I didn't. I tripped over my own feet and landed flat on my face, tearing my ankle ligaments for good measure. Still swollen 8 years later. Saw an electric fence, went out hill walking and thought, I wonder what would happen if I touched it. Then did. Placed my knuckles on the plate of the plugged-in iron to see if it was hot. It was. Take an iron casserole, oven to table, dish out of oven using oven gloves. Then took oven gloves off to move the casserole dish to table with my bare hands. It's like my brain is shrieking, do not touch, but I do it anyway. Rushing to get out to work one sunny morning, I ironed my t-shirt while wearing it. Iron still plugged in, burned myself, and spent the day with the tip of an iron shape visibly branded onto my chest. It was my birthday. I a very steep water slide years ago. Think it was called the Kamikaze, or something like that. The highest, steepest drop slide you can imagine. I was instructed to keep my eyes shut, my head right back, and my arms crossed over my chest. On push-off, I decided to do none of those things. So cue the equivalent of industrial strength power hosing straight into my face, and spent the rest of the day with one missing contact lens, loss of nostril function, and completely deaf. The Greek godlike lifeguards thought I was hilarious though. Just remembered something my dad did that he wished he hadn't. My mum was ironing. The ironing board collapsed, and the hot iron was catapulted into the air. Dad leapt off the sofa, where he was sat watching telly, and caught it like a rugby ball. He didn't let go for ages. He said it didn't start hurting straight away. Ran through wet concrete as a kid. The guy had clearly just finished it too. His face was a picture. I shouted, "Sorry, mister," and ran for my life like something out of the Beano. My trainers were encased in cement. As an adult, I threw a cup of hot chocolate, no lid, straight at my partner instead of in the bin. I have no idea why. Peered closer to pick a scab near a horse's hoof. Horse snatched hoof up and kneed me square in the mouth. Blood everywhere. Predisposable lenses. I had lost my contact lens case. Can't remember why or how. So was keeping my lenses in 8 cups on the kitchen windowsill. Yes, I know. But I was young and foolish. Anyway, I woke up one morning full of energy and started cleaning the kitchen. Wiping down the table and work surfaces, mad washing up, scrubbing down the sink, clearing the windowsill, sweeping the floor. Oh, hold on a minute, did I just clear the windowsill? I said I was young and foolish. Hope you are enjoying today's video from Mother's Narrative Network. Please like, comment and subscribe for more daily uploads. Don't forget to click the notification bell. This happened many years ago, when I was a kid of 11 in the 1950s. A mate of mine did a dirty drawing on the toilet wall. Next day, one of my friends dragged me in there, and while I was standing nearby, the class snitch passed by. Later, when the headmistress asked if anyone knew about it, she, snitch, said, "Please miss, I saw N showing it to her friends." Headmistress asks me what I know about the drawing. If I had been a little more cunning and worldly wise, I would have told her, "Nothing, miss. My friend showed it to me." She would have gone to the friend. Then back and back through the chain of kids, until she met the first child to see it that day. She would never have solved the mystery, and no one could have been blamed. Like a bloody little fool, I told her that I knew who had done it, but I couldn't tell her, because that would be snitching. The headmistress then began to cajole and bully me. She said I was in big trouble, and she would contact my parents. I was scared I would get a beating from my father, so I eventually told her who did the drawing. The teacher did not believe me, and the other kids said I had drawn it. The headmistress made me get a bucket of water and scrub it off. That day I learned some valuable lessons. The meek do not inherit the earth, they inherit the dirt. People who are honest and truthful are not always believed. It is often the clever liars who get away with things. My childhood ended that day. When traveling in South America, I once put my trousers on without thoroughly shaking them first. Always shake out any clothes if you are somewhere where it's possible a nasty bug might be lurking. As I stood at a bus stop 15 minutes later, I felt the fangs of a spider sink into my shin. Thank goodness it wasn't higher confounded facepalm #hash. I had been bitten by a black widow. I splat it through the trouser leg. The bite swelled up to the size and redness of an apple, and I had a mild fever for 24 hours. I still shake clothes, shoes and towels to this day, and I now live back in England. I dropped my phone on my head to see if it hurt. It wasn't as bad as I thought, so I did it again, at a different angle. That was slightly more painful, but I thought, for some odd reason, I'd do it again for a third time to be 100% sure. I didn't do it a fourth. I was once sharing a hotel room with a friend, and she got locked inside the bathroom because of a dodgy door handle. After lots of jiggling of said handle from my side, we managed to get her out. In order to check whether it was a one-off or ongoing problem, I suggested she go back in and lock the door again. She did and promptly got locked in again until the hotel maintenance was able to get the door open. Far too many to count. Including sharpening my finger in a pencil sharpener, heating a plastic beaker on a hob. But I'm glad I found my people. Told someone whose mother had just died, "Oh, it's okay, the football season starts soon." Bought a massive tin of masonry paint, and when putting it in my boot I noticed the lid looked a bit wobbly. Thought it was okay. Drove home usual speed, and when home and opened the boot, the can had sort of exploded all over my car, onto the fence and the drive. It's still on the fence years later, and my boot is a pale yellow color. Idiot. Tried to put out a fire from burning fat in a grill pan by pouring water on it, mortified at own stupidity, was also very dangerous. I've posted this before, but what the hell. Notoriously clumsy, particularly with phones. Phone on my lap in the passenger seat. Arrive at destination, open car door, stand up, phone lands on ground. I look at it and think, wow, I'm so lucky it didn't smash, then stand in it with my full weight crushing it completely. Also numerous times today, I've had to go into the garden. Careful, I say to myself, the snow had frozen and it's really slippery. Inevitably, I carefully navigate my way to the bin or wherever without incident and congratulate myself so much on the walk back to the house I then slip. Every time. At home, alone, stone cold sober and for no reason I can fathom, decided to try doing a Sporty Spice style high kick. I was wearing a pencil skirt. So as the right leg went up, it took the left with it and I fell on my ass so hard I winded myself. I'm very short and my kitchen is pretty small. Food is in cupboards and unless they are on the lowest shelf, I can't reach them. Often too lazy to get the steps, I can usually reach the next shelf up by using a pair of IKEA tongs to just drag them as close to the shelf edge as possible so I can grab it. Just before Christmas, I tried this method to reach a tin of soup on the highest shelf. The tongs weren't strong enough to grasp the tin, and it tumbled down straight onto my forehead. Big bump for weeks. My friend got into a high-kicking competition with her partner. He was in scruffy old boxer shorts with a hole in them. He said to her, "Oh yeah, check this out," high-kicked, and one of his bollocks popped out the hole. She nearly wet herself laughing, and I did too hearing the story. I worked in this sweet boutique. One of the items they sold were battery-operated light bulbs, just a little novelty light for a desk. One of them had arrived faulty, so I set about fixing it. Removed the glass, fiddles with the wires, good to go. Applied super glue to the glass and pushed it on with all the force Scott saw fit to give this idiot. Super glued fingers full of glass. I bled all over the store and had to run out to get plasters because someone had moved the first aid kit. Oh, and high kicking. Kicked over my cousin's head, entirely pissed, fell and broke my wrist in such a way that the bones overlapped. Right before a holiday to Spain. Ducking idiot. There was a piece of land next to our house, which 2 houses were being built on. One day I opened the front door, and there was a brick on the driveway. I had had a bad morning and was cursing the builders as I tried to throw it back. Forgot I'm totally crap at throwing and the brick fell onto my car windscreen, totally smashing it. Stood up on railings, the spike went through my shoe into foot. Nailing a piece of fence back on and leaning through to hammer nails on other side, realized I had now got head stuck on neighbor's side of fence. Walking down street, guy said, "Hi Jen, not me, did you enjoy the party?" Decided to pretend to be Jen, went back to his flat, decided didn't fancy him, said I'm going to get some booze, never went back. Or when 18 and bored, on the dole. I am in stitches at these. My DS was teething badly. I went into Boots and asked where the Anusol was and how to apply it. Ambisol is what I needed for DS. Also baked biscuits and used a plastic tray. I have no idea what possessed me. I knew it was plastic. It melted all over the oven. Used the shower curtain rail to see if I could swing. It came crashing down with me. I was an adult and slightly concussed. Put clove oil directly on my gum as thought it'd work quicker. Never touched the stuff again. Made a brew a few weeks ago, and rather than take the tea bag out the cup and put it in the bin, I threw the entire freshly made brew in the bin. This was a long time ago, but still makes me think WTF. I put a coat hanger down my back to do an impression of the band 5 Star. I'm as confused as you are about that one, then tried to stop the cat who wasn't allowed in bedrooms getting up the stairs. The cat scratched me and I fell down the stairs. My sister found me at the bottom with a scratched face entangled with the cat in a coat hanger and couldn't work out what on earth had happened. I was about 14. Put my hand flat on the top of a ham and found the biggest, sharpest knife I could and, while thinking it wasn't a good idea, started cutting directly towards my hand. Entirely predictably, I made a nice deep slice on my index finger. First aid administered by blood-hating father, after which I put my bandaged hand back on top of the ham and tried again. And sliced so deeply into my thumb that it had to be stitched. Once while shaving my armpits, I wonder if it would hurt to shave your nipple. The pain was awful and wearing a bra was torture for ages. I also put a knife through my hand while trying to get burgers apart. I don't even like burgers. For reasons utterly beyond me, 2 weeks ago, I decided to reach into a hot oven to turn over the baguettes I'd been baking. Without an oven glove. I've now got a very nasty burn on my hand as a reminder of not to be so bloody stupid. Or rather think about what I'm doing rather than trying to multitask. I was doing dishes in sink and for some reason I will never understand, decided it would be a good time to change the fuse on a plug that had blew. Didn't even take the time to dry my hands and wait for the double whammy of stupid. Didn't put the cover on the plug, stuck said plug in wall socket and flicked the switch and promptly was fired across the room. Then I sat fascinated that the hairs on my arm resembled a hedgehog. I keep breaking plates by preheating them up on the gas hob. Our kitchen is ridiculously cold, and when the plates come out the cupboard they're like ice. About 5 to 10 seconds on the smallest gas ring takes the chill off them so the food doesn't go stone cold as soon as you dish up. Twice now, I've forgotten and got distracted by something else needing to be done at dinner time and am rudely interrupted by the sound of a shattering plate. Worst thing is I still do it. I thought the blade of my pill splitter might be getting a bit dull, so I ran it down the length of my thumb to test the sharpness. It was still very sharp. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Before you go, please like, comment, and subscribe for more daily uploads. Don't forget to click the notification bell.